Your live interactive Weather Authority coverage will begin shortly. Your live Weather Authority coverage starts right now.
Good morning, everybody, and happy Wednesday to you. Quite the active morning here in the weather department. We have a very potent storm moving through the state, just obliterating all of the snow that a lot of us got over the weekend, or if you're in the mountains, adding a whole lot more to the snow that we got over the weekend. But a lot of impacts that this storm has brought. Luckily, not as bad as that storm that we saw in December, but still power outages across the state. We're seeing wind damage in spots, some flooding, and coastal flooding. Coastal flooding is really ramping up right now as we're approaching high tide coming up here in just the next 10 minutes or so. I'm going to bring up the high tide gauge right now in Portland. Bear with me for just a second while I get that pulled up for you here. But yeah, we are nearing a pretty significant coastal flood event in the Portland area this morning. A very high tide that we are currently seeing right now. So let me see how quickly I can get this pulled up for us here. But yes, again, seeing some big issues up and down the coastline as of right now. So again, this storm has brought a lot of issues across the state. It's brought flooding, of course, some wind damage as well, and of course, the coastal flooding. All right, now it's finally loaded, and here we go. Wow, 13.84 feet. That is crazy. This is some wild stuff, you guys. All right, stop screen, percent share screen window. And here we go. So what I'm showing you guys right now is the current water gauge here in Portland Harbor. 13.84 feet as of the latest reading. That is very, very high. We're at a major flood stage, or nearing major flood stage, a forecast now of 14 feet. That would put us at the second highest tide we have ever recorded in Portland. Actually, I want to talk to Charlie. 13.8 in Portland, forecast second highest tide of all time now. Yeah, pretty significant event going on here in the Portland area, guys. Sorry, a little distracted about that by that big jump up in the flooding here along the coastline. Likely some very significant flooding ongoing on Commercial Street right about now. So I'm going to bring up our current graphic, the graphic that I had made given the earlier forecast for the flooding along the coastline. There we go. All right, the forecast earlier this morning had Portland getting to 13.2 feet. That would be in the top 10. We're in the top 3 now, 13.84 feet. That would make us the top 3 highest coastal floods that we have ever seen. So yeah, very significant event ongoing here along the coastline. If you're along the York County coast or the Cumberland County coast, we are seeing significant coastal flooding. Also still seeing some gusty winds. It's much better than earlier, but notice Bar Harbor and Bangor gusting up to 55, 56 miles per hour there. That's where the strongest winds are. They've shifted off to the east into down east Maine. Now central Maine and into southern Maine, still gusty, but just not as bad. Winds gusting up to 35 to even near 40 miles per hour in a couple spots. So as I mentioned, a flash flood warning, Portland area down through the York County coastline as well. This is because all of the melting snow and all of the heavy rain is meeting with the coastal flooding from the high tide and leading to roads getting flooded out in York County and in Cumberland County. Very significant coastal flood event happening here. Again, second highest tide in Portland history happening right this very moment. Just incredibly impressive event to be happening here across the state, and especially along the coastline. Now, yes, Kayla, thank you for the report. Yeah, if you are along the coast right now, if you live really close to the water and you've been down there, or you can see it from just your home, let me know what you're seeing. I would love to see some reports of what we're seeing. It's starting to get a bit crazy in Old Orchard. Yeah, Kayla was looking that way earlier today. I can only imagine what it looks like now that high tide is arrived here. Yeah, flash flood warning. No surprise about that. Wow, I'm just really impressed by how high that tide ended up getting. So let's talk about the snow aspect of this storm. Of course, for a lot of us, probably didn't get a whole lot of snow out of this, but some of us did get a whole lot of snow out of this. Here's an image from Sunday River this morning. 11 inches or so reported there. I actually saw that 15 inches was reported as of the most recent report. So really impressive for the mountains. If you're a skier, You probably love this. Looking like great conditions here over the next couple of days. Even though they do get a little rain on top of the snow, it won't really ruin things all that much. Again, big snow totals there. If you have a snow total for me, or if you've seen a good amount of snow, let me know. So 14.7 inches, the highest I saw up in Franklin County in New Vineyard, 14.6 in Madrid, 14 in Carabasset Valley, 12 in Dallas, 11 and a half in Newry. If you're a skier, you love hearing those towns on our highest snow total list. 5 inches in the Lewiston Auburn area before we saw that changeover back to rain. So yeah, pretty impressive storm in terms of the mountain snow totals, the coastal flooding, and in terms of the rainfall and the wind speeds that we've seen across the state. Let's talk about the winds. Offshore, we saw some really crazy winds of 90 miles per hour or higher. Along the actual coastline itself, Portland gusting to 63, Augusta gusting to 51, Bath gusting to 43. So still some pretty impressive wind gusts that we have seen across the state. Good news is it's going to be not good for snowmobilers in southern Maine, Mark. It's so unfortunate. We've been waiting for so long, finally got a good snowpack, and we just obliterated it in a day. Unfortunately, that's going to remain the case until early next week, when we do have another chance of seeing some more snow. Hopefully the snow we see next week will have a better staying power. It looks like it will, so we'll keep an eye on that. No wind at all in Wilton. Good for you. I'm glad the wind's dying down. It should continue to do so for the rest of us through the rest of the day. Again, along the coastline right now through about 10 a.m. or so, significant coastal flooding ongoing, near record-breaking coastal flooding, some of the highest water levels we have ever seen along the coastline of Maine. That continues until noon. So again, be on the lookout for any coastal flooding. I'm going to keep refreshing our water levels page. I'm very curious to see what the Portland gauge gets up to. There's a chance we break the all-time record high. Very, very impressive that we have seen this much coastal flooding. Also be on the lookout for any minor road flooding. We do have a flood warning in place until 10. That expires in about half an hour here for the Lewiston area, Portland area, York County, through mid-coast Maine. Whew, a lot of details to bring up with this storm, a whole lot going on. It's still very windy in Lewiston. Thanks for the report, Brittany. Yeah, still looks like the wind gusts are approaching 35, even 40 miles per hour there. So hang tight. The wind should be dying down there for you pretty soon. Scott says squirrels in Kittery area were wearing raincoats for a little while. Yeah, poor squirrels. I bet they were so soaked by this morning's very, very heavy rain that we saw across the state. They're probably so confused too. Cold, big snowstorm, mild, huge rainstorm. Been all over the place in our weather the past few days. However, this afternoon, bringing improvements, some sunshine poking out, highs right around the upper 40s or low 50s. I wouldn't be surprised if Portland gets to 50 today. Yeah, continuing to melt that snowpack. Now tonight, turning a little bit chillier. And we will see cooler air moving in as we head into Thursday. Temperature is going to be getting down to around the freezing mark for tomorrow morning. Tomorrow looks pretty quiet. There's a chance of some snow showers in the mountains, but overall, it's pretty quiet. Nothing happening in Windham. Good to hear, Heidi. Wendy's asking, when will it stop in Oxford? Wendy, in the next 2 hours or so, you're likely going to see the rain stopping, and you're likely going to see the winds starting to die down as well. Still breezy the rest of the day, but not as windy as it will be this morning. What are the numbers for the second highest tide in history? How high? All right, I'm going to pull up the high tide gauge once again. Share screen, window, share. There we go. All right, I'm going to show our historic crests here. All right, so second highest in history in Portland, 13.98 feet. Sarah's asking about this. Currently at 13.84 feet. That's good enough for third highest on record. You'll also notice that last year, or I guess the year before now, in 2022, on that Christmas Eve storm, if you remember that one, that was the fourth highest in Portland's history. So with just in about a year's time, second highest potentially and fourth highest tide in Portland history. That is really, really impressive. So yeah, some really impressive stuff going on along with the coastal flooding here along the coastline. It's amazing how every storm has some factor that it just does the best. If you remember with that December 18th storm, it was the very high winds and the very heavy rain that led to flooding. With this storm, it's less of a factor with the wind. It's way more of a factor with the coastal flooding. So just goes to show every storm is completely different, even though on paper or on the weather map, they somewhat look the same. So I'm going to stop this, present, share screen, bring up the weather graphics once again. 93 on Matinicus Island. That Heidi, Matinicus is about it's not very representative, I will say, of what most of us experienced, because it's about 12 miles offshore of the coast of Maine. If someone is watching and they know exactly how far away Matinicus is, they can probably correct me on that. But about 10 to maybe 15 miles off the coast of Maine, a tiny, tiny little island. That's where that was measured. Debbie's waiting for the sun. I think we are as well, Debbie. I'm ready to just get this nasty storm out of here. Not a fan of it. I wish it had been snow, but hey, you win some, you lose some. So tomorrow, much quieter. Could see a couple flurries or flakes out there. Is it summer yet? Yeah, feeling like it almost out there this afternoon or this morning. Yeah, we're clearing out. Friday is going to be sunny and beautiful. Saturday, another storm. Sunday, it's turning chilly, but we are nice and quiet. Scott, did I see something about a polar vortex happening in the near future? Scott, as of right now, the very coldest temperatures with that, which it does look likely that there will be a polar vortex disruption into the United States next week. However, looks like it's going to favor the central plains and central United States. We'll get chilly here in Maine, probably chilly for Maine, even highs in the low 20s maybe next week at some point, or upper 20s maybe, but not going to get exceptionally memorably cold, I don't think, or at least that's the way it's looking right now. Maybe a better chance for that in February, but I will say the second half of January does look very stormy. All right, moving forward, you guys, we've got another storm to talk about here. Unfortunately, another big storm looks to move in on Saturday. More snow to rain. Ski resorts should get a good amount out of this one as well. Heavy rain and strong winds are a threat. Snow melt, flooding, coastal flooding, deja vu, it seems like, with this storm that we are likely to see as we head into this weekend. Let's hope for as minimal impact as we can get out of this. I think today's storm wasn't too bad. Let's hope that Saturday's storm is looking similar. All right, Scott, it's your time to shine. This has nothing to really do with the polar vortex, but it does have to do with the cold air. Next week, it does turn chillier, and yep, looking like a colder storm. We're in a storm every 3 days pattern right now. Storm today, storm on Saturday, storm early next week. Monday, Tuesday, storm next week. Yeah, mostly or all snow it's looking like right now. Maybe some mixing. That, of course, is still going to be refined as we head towards next week, but does look like a colder storm. Could be a significant snowstorm similar to what we saw last weekend. So we're going to have to keep a close eye on it. And Brittany, here you go. Honestly, at this point, I just want all snow rather than the wind and rain. I think a lot of us feel that way. I definitely feel that way, Brittany. Our chance next week, Monday and Tuesday, that will help to replenish all of the snow that we just lost here across most of the state. At least that's the way it's looking now. We'll keep you posted on any changes with our forecast as we head towards next week. But again, I do want to bring up the Portland tide gauge one last time before I wrap things up here, because this is history that we're really witnessing right now in the Portland area. So stop screen, present, share screen, window, share. All right. Again, we are witnessing Portland history right now with the incredible coastal flooding right now. Portland now sitting at the third highest level of water it has ever recorded, 13.84 feet. And the forecast crest would be the second highest it has ever been. So very, very significant coastal flooding ongoing. I saw all the piers on Commercial Street on Portland are flooded. Downtown Portland likely seeing some flooding. So again, be pretty safe out there. Yeah, we got that leak taken care of. It looks like it's tapered off now, Joe. But yeah, that was kind of scary when that happened this morning. If any of you guys were watching Good Day Maine in the 8 o'clock hour, we had suddenly we heard this like crumbling sort of sound, like something was falling down, and all of a sudden, boom, a big burst of water came through the roof, and it kind of spooked us all, but luckily it didn't affect or hurt anybody of us. Take a look at the breakwater webcam. Crazy. Yeah, I will be doing that, Susan. Sunny blue skies in Wells. That's headed to the rest of us later on today. Thanks so much, Lily, for that report. Us custodians in Exeter are ready. Yeah, I'm sure you are, Barbie. Good morning, Barbie. Hope you're doing well. Windy and raining in Sydney. Have a great day. So we are going to continue to track the coastal flooding. We'll have some great video, I'm sure, for you guys on the noon show. I'll try to post some as well on my Facebook and on my Twitter. So just keep checking that if you want to see some video of the coastal flooding we're seeing in Portland right now. Again, very significant event going on, record-breaking flooding along the coast. So hopefully everyone has a great rest of your day. Hopefully you don't have you haven't lost power. And if you do, hopefully it's restored quickly. Should be able to, considering things are quieting down as we head into today and tomorrow. So stay safe out there, everybody. Good idea to stay away from the ocean, but as long as you keep a healthy distance, it's a good day to get some video of the crazy, huge waves hitting the coast. So again, have a great one, everybody. We got a Saturday storm to track. I'll be back on Facebook Live in the next couple of days, updating you on that potential. Have a good one.